Tensions on the Korean Peninsula are once again on the rise. For the first time in 5 months, North Korea has launched a series of ballistic missiles, just days before US President Donald Trump and other world leaders are expected to arrive in South Korea for a high-profile regional summit. While the launches did not threaten neighboring countries directly, they have sent a clear political message. Pyongyang intends to remind the world that its nuclear ambitions remain very much alive. On Wednesday, South Korea's Joint Chiefs of Staff confirmed that multiple short-range ballistic missiles were fired from an area south of Pyongyang, the North Korean capital. According to their analysis, the missiles traveled roughly 217 miles each, heading northeast toward the Sea of Japan. The precise landing zones were not disclosed, but no immediate damage or debris was reported. These launches mark North Korea's first ballistic missile activity since May 8th, when it tested systems simulating tactical nuclear counterstrikes against US and South Korean targets. South Korea's military stated that it remains on high alert and fully prepared to respond to any provocations in coordination with US forces. The two nations maintain a strong military alliance, with approximately 28,500 American troops stationed in South Korea. Their readiness posture has been heightened in recent months amid North Korea's growing missile capabilities and its increasingly aggressive rhetoric. Japan's newly elected Prime Minister, Sanai Takaichi, told reporters that none of the missiles entered Japan's territorial waters or exclusive economic zone. Takaichi, who took office only weeks ago, reiterated Japan's stance that North Korea's missile tests violate UN Security Council resolutions and undermine regional stability. The timing of the launches is significant. South Korea is preparing to host the annual Asia-Pacific Economic Cooperation Summit next week, a major diplomatic gathering focused on economic cooperation and trade. The event is scheduled for October 30th to November 1st in Gyeongju and is expected to draw leaders from across the region, including Chinese President Xi Jinping and South Korean President Myung. President Trump had initially been expected to attend the summit's bilateral meetings, though reports from Seoul indicate that he may skip the main conference. His visit to South Korea ahead of APEC, however, was still being considered for talks with regional leaders on trade, security, and North Korea. For Pyongyang, the timing provides a potent stage. Analysts say that North Korea often uses international summits as opportunities to assert its relevance and to test the responses of major powers, especially the United States. Experts on Korean affairs suggest that these latest launches are meant to reinforce Kim Jong Un's message. North Korea will continue advancing its nuclear and missile programs unless it is formally recognized as a nuclear state. Kim's regime has long argued that nuclear weapons are essential for deterrence against what it perceives as US hostility and the ongoing threat of regime change. This interpretation is consistent with North Korea's strategy in recent years. Since high-stakes diplomacy between Kim and Trump collapsed in 2019 after disagreements over sanctions relief, Pyongyang has ramped up weapons development while maintaining a calculated rhythm of provocations and diplomatic overtures. The collapse of the 2019 Hanoi summit between Trump and Kim marked a turning point. Kim had sought sweeping sanctions relief in exchange for partial denuclearization steps, but the US refused to lift key restrictions without full verification. Since then, Pyongyang has resumed missile testing at a pace unseen since the mid-2010s, conducting over 100 missile launches between 2020 and 2024. In May 2025, North Korea simulated nuclear counterstrikes for the first time in years, demonstrating new short-range systems designed to hit US and South Korean military targets. These exercises were explicitly framed by state media as practical preparations for defensive nuclear use. While specific details about Wednesday's missiles have not been confirmed, analysts believe they were upgraded short-range ballistic missiles potentially from the KN-23 or KN-24 family. These are capable of maneuvering in flight to evade interception and can carry both conventional and nuclear payloads. The 217-mile range suggests they were designed for precision strikes against key military targets in South Korea or nearby US bases in Japan. Earlier this month, North Korea showcased a new intercontinental ballistic missile at a military parade marking the 81st anniversary of its ruling Workers' Party. Named the Hwasong-20, it was described by state media as the country's most powerful nuclear strategic weapon system. Military analysts believe it can carry multiple warheads designed to penetrate and overwhelm US missile defenses. North Korea remains under heavy UN sanctions for its nuclear and missile programs. The sanctions, first imposed in 2006 and expanded multiple times since, have severely limited Pyongyang's access to international trade, fuel imports, and financial systems. Despite these restrictions, Kim's government has managed to sustain its weapons program, reportedly using cryptocurrency theft, illicit trade, and covert networks to generate revenue, raising an estimated $3 billion through cyber operations in the past 3 years, according to UN reports. For South Korea's newly elected President Lee Jae-myung, the tests come at a sensitive time. Lee took office in June, promising to pursue peace and dialogue while maintaining strong deterrence. His administration now faces the dual challenge of keeping communication channels open with Pyongyang while responding firmly to military provocations. The launches also place pressure on regional defense cooperation. The US, Japan, and South Korea have recently expanded joint military drills and intelligence sharing, steps that North Korea views as hostile acts. The risk is that each new missile test justifies stronger deterrence measures, creating a cycle of escalation that leaves little room for diplomacy. Whether Kim's move is a show of strength or a plea for attention, the result is the same. The Korean Peninsula is once again at the center of global security concerns. With the US election cycle intensifying and Washington's attention divided across multiple global crises, North Korea may be calculating that now is the best moment to reassert its leverage. As President Trump and other leaders prepare to gather in South Korea, the question now is whether these launches are a warning shot or the opening act of a new phase of confrontation on the peninsula.